Praise the sun. Or praise someone, because if you're going up against these guys, you're going to need all the help you can get. Welcome to Viewpoint Gaming, and to celebrate the upcoming release of Dark Souls 3, or here in the UK at least, we're counting down our top 10 boss battles from the SoulsBorne series. That includes anyone from Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 and 2, and Bloodborne. I'm excluding anything from Dark Souls 3 from this list, as it hasn't come out here yet, and that'll get plenty of video content on its own, but any of the DLC is viable. I threw this out to a vote on various social media, so this is a mix of my opinion and the opinion of the fans. Bloodborne's The Old Hunters DLC didn't ease you in lightly. The first boss you'll come across is none other than Ludwig himself. Sound familiar? You've probably been using his sword for a while.
Have mercy upon us.
If his deformed and grotesque look isn't enough to freak you out, surely his arena, a room full of blood and corpses, should do the trick. Ludwig's holy sword is a powerful weapon, so it makes sense for its owner to be just as fearsome. Ludwig also brings the fan favourite Moonlight Greatsword to the fight, forcing you to change tactics around halfway through.
You were at my side all along. My guiding moonlight.
Far beneath Lodran, in the depths above Blighttown, lies this monstrosity. He first appears to be a small, alligator-like creature, but when he pulls the rest of his body into his arena, he's revealed as one of the most intimidating-looking bosses in the SoulsBorne series. He isn't actually that tough to fight once you've learned his tactics, but credit has to be given to the team at FromSoft for his design. The final boss of Bloodborne's DLC, excluding Lawrence, who's optional, the Orphan of Kos tests everything you've learned so far. After we watch him crawl from the womb of Kos, a presumed Great One, he wields his umbilical cord and afterbirth as a weapon. Yep, you heard that right. Moving fast and hitting hard, the Orphan of Kos keeps you on your toes for the whole fight, barely giving you room to fight back or heal. Partway through the fight, like Ludwig before him, he changes into a new, more deadly form, putting your skill, adaptability and patience to the test. never felt so bad about killing a boss in a game. Despite his aggression and attempts to kill the player as brutally as possible, Sif's just too adorable. Wielding the greatsword of his master and adopting a fighting style quite similar to Artorias himself, Sif does everything he can to defend the grave of his master. Of course, if you've played the DLC and freed the younger Sif from the Humanity Phantoms, you will be presented with a different opening cinematic. Here, Sif recognises you as his saviour. He takes up his sword with a sorrowful look in his eyes, hitting the chosen undead in the face, and us in the feels. However bad you feel about it, this dog needs to be put down if you're to progress with the game. Above Aldea's keep, and right at the end of the Dragon Shrine, lies an enormous beast, who is entirely optional as a boss. If you want, you can take the key item you need and go on your merry way. But anyone who's played a game before will just have to poke him and see what happens. Spoiler alert, you die. A lot. With enormous strength to match his size, the ancient dragon has a huge health bar, and a fondness of one-hit kill area attacks that are incredibly difficult to dodge, unless you can recognise when he's going to do one. Rightfully considered as one of the toughest bosses in Dark Souls 2, being able to topple this beast is quite the achievement. Serving as the final boss in Dark Souls 2's final DLC, if the Burnt Ivory King is to be considered as the climax of all three DLCs, it certainly ends in style. The change in scenery alone is great, as you fall from a snow-capped mountain hall down to a hellish battle arena. Throughout the third DLC, you'll hopefully have been saving the knights dotted around, and this is where they come to back you up. The Burnt Ivory King will have 4 portals summoning enemies, and one by one your allies will close these portals, sacrificing themselves in the process. What begins as an epic battle with multiple combatants eventually boils down to a one-on-one fight between you and the king himself. Living in an abyss, locked away in a city that was then flooded to keep them sealed in, the 4 kings clearly aren't a threat to be taken lightly. After fighting through the loyal servants, the Dark Race, you drop into the abyss and wait as one by one the kings spawn. You're given around 20 to 30 seconds between each king, so it's a good tactic to go on the offensive and take down each king before his pals show up. If the fight goes on too long, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with their powerful magic attacks. In my opinion, this guy is the true final boss of Demon Souls. Heading down into the old one and fighting the other King Gallant is downright pathetic. But this guy can slice you into confetti before you can say Umbassa if you aren't careful. Not only does he have strength and speed on his side, if he manages to get a hold of you, he can actually remove a few levels from your character, lowering your stats and making the rest of the fight that much harder. As a one-on-one duel, this is about as exciting as Demon Souls gets. Or you could go the cheap way. You equip the Thief's Ring, you stand on the stairs, and you poison him to death before he even notices you've walked in. Don't take this fight lightly. This guy wields a pair of greatswords that can easily slap you around if you aren't quick on your toes. The Fumelight also has a high defense and a wide moveset, making him difficult to read and even harder to kill. Not only this, but if you didn't think to destroy the statues outside his boss arena, he can move to them and quickly regain lots of his health. The Fumelight is one of the prime examples of why you should fully explore and prepare before rushing in blindly. Unless you like getting smashed into the ground, In which case, carry on. Topping the list is the dynamic duo themselves, Pikachu and Snorlax, the new power couple in town. Any one of these two would be difficult enough on their own, but combined, they're a force to be reckoned with. If you can't find anyone to help you with this fight, and you were disgraceful enough to kill Solar earlier in the game, you're going to have a tough time keeping an eye on both of them, dodging 2 sets of attacks, and taking any opening you can to fight back. With a companion it's easier. Divide their attention and focus on one each. But did we mention that when you kill one, the other absorbs his power and regains all his health? Even though the Souls series is known for its boss battles, very few of them could actually be considered notorious. Ornstein and Smough is definitely within that category. So there you have it, my list of the top 10 SoulsBorne bosses so far. I'm looking forward to playing Dark Souls 3, and seeing just what bosses will be around to turn me into a red stain on the floor. In the meantime, let me know what your favourite SoulsBorne boss was in the comments below, and also how you think you pronounce Smough, whichever. Let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next one.